directing to Alex Steffen, and you are watching Eclectic Arts Media.
If I can walk out of the ring the way I walked into it, I'm happy.
All right, look here. Hey, this is Alex Story for Cancer Slug. This is Cancer Slug, and you're watching Eclectic Arts Media. See, I said it right.
Going to somewhere like that and playing those places that all those bands that you listen to play.
Hello, Beer Bowling Hearts!
Yeah, she's definitely the most prominent person who I've had the opportunity to work with.
Hello, my name is Richard Winslonaker. I play Hercule Poirot at Taproot and Murder on the Link.
And I'm singing and I'm going, I'm not all by myself anymore.
Oh, whoa.
I know.
I mean, I'm with me every day, all day. But no, I get it.
Hello, my name is Kate Yeager, and I play Louise Seeger.
Hi, I'm Cayman Illica, and I play Patsy Cline.
Even with editing, I get irritated. I'm like, but I get quite stubborn,
when you have limited time, you're just like, I'm going to go out, I'm going to go into the woods, I'm going to film myself.
Aloha, I'm Jake Shimobukuro, and you're watching Eclectic Arts Media.
And you sitting? Okay, I believe you. So
I think I forgot your question, but I went on a different path, but it felt great.
And I need to keep as much hair as possible because, particularly in Heinley Street, no one's got hair. You'd fit right in, Mark. So.
Well, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. I'm Mark Sugiyama from Eclectic Arts Media based here in Seattle, Washington. And thank you so much for joining me on this Thursday over here in the US, the 9th of October, 2025. And before we get started, I'd like to thank Anatoly from Knitland and From the Land for joining me on Monday evening. It's great catching up with him. We've done about 4 live streams now, and during that interview, we were talking about reconnecting when the new album comes out in February. And when we went offline, he said, absolutely, Mark, I want to make sure that we do that, and that his partner, Natasha, will be joining him. So you can kind of put that down on your calendar for, 4 or 5 months away from here. But speaking of which, coming up, the next live stream that I have scheduled, this is 99% sure to happen. The 1% is actually on my end, but I'm pretty confident that this is going to happen. But on Monday, the 13th of October over here in the US at noon Pacific, Sarina Telly is scheduled to join me, the wonderful Swiss singer, rocker, formerly of Burning Witches. She's had a very successful solo career. We've done 2 live streams and 1 fun table session. That was amazing. She was here in person for the very first time in the US, and unfortunately, we had everything lined up, interview, photos, all the coverage that I was going to do here in Seattle, and then I got COVID. So that didn't happen, unfortunately. So now we're going to be back in the virtual world. But she has a new album coming out this month called Green, which I'm looking forward to discussing with her. So again, that's on Monday. And beyond that, you can follow me on Instagram, because that's where I post everything first in terms of what I have coming up once it's confirmed, and other just kind of random things that I do around town here. And that's Eclectic Arts Media, one word. If this is your first time joining me on my YouTube channel, if you could do me a huge favor and please hit the subscribe button as well as the notification bell. And if you're over on the Twitch side of things, if you could follow me over there, that would be great. That's where I started this virtual work back in 2020. And I can mention that if anyone that's watching this right now, if you would like to ask my guests during this interview or any future interviews that I have a question, the live chat should be open on the YouTube channel and also on the Twitch channel. So all you have to do is either subscribe or follow on either one, both of those platforms, and then you should have instant access. Please be aware that I will just fold in the questions as they go along during the conversation. So clearly, if my guest is expressing a thought, I'm not going to interrupt that with your question. I'm going to wait. So just kind of know you can ask as many as you'd like, and I will try to get to them within the time frame that we have. And also, if you're really trying, you just like what I've been doing and want to support the channel, there is a PayPal, me, and a Venmo link in every YouTube description. It's also on the Twitch side of things. That's only if you're in a position to do so, but every dollar helps me keep this channel going, and just improvements with technology. And I've mentioned that my ring light's having issues, so I could replace that depending on what kind of things. But again, only if you're in a position to do so. But I greatly appreciate all the donations that have come in this year so far. All right. My guest today is an amazing vocalist, musician, entertainer, and businesswoman from Australia. She has been recording and performing for decades, including many songs with the Heinley Street Country Club, among others. Please welcome to the Eclectic Arts Media virtual studio, Miss Pina Del Rey.
Hello, Mark. Hi, everyone.
Hi, Pina. How are you?
So well. Thank you for having me today.
Yeah, thank you. I'm doing very well. Thank you for taking the time. I so appreciate it.
Pleasure is all mine.
So, hey, there's so many different things I want to be able to talk to you about with your background and the different things that you've been a part of. But I think the thing we should kind of start with first is what you have coming up next month. And we were kind of talking about this pre-show, that you've got a new project that you're going to be doing, and there's a lot of intention behind it. So maybe you can let the folks out there know what that is.
Yeah, for sure. So I think you're referring to a group that I sing with. It's called Dance Electric. And now we are predominantly more a corporate product. So we do a lot of corporate events, big events around Adelaide. And we get a lot of demand for people who want to come to see us perform. We're more like a floor show based idea. We're not, come to a show and watch 3 sets like a band. It's a different type of concept. It's a well thought out concept. So there's a lot of demand where people want to come and see us perform. So an idea has come along. Rose is the creator of this product. She's my fellow singer, the lady with the fire hair, and the amazing idea. So she's come up with this warehouse party concept where people can come along. It's for this one night only at this stage, one night only. You buy tickets, and then the rest shall be revealed in time.
Okay, I love the tease.
Yeah. So you have to buy tickets. If you're in Adelaide, you have to buy tickets and come along, because it's going to be a very, very fun night. Yes, and she's got little clues and prompts as the days get closer. Maybe that's as much as I can say now.
Well, and like I was telling you pre-show, I love that there's so much intention behind the build up to this event. That to me shows some creativity, and it shows that's just not like you're trying to separate it from the average gig. It's like,
absolutely,
this is an event. This is something special.
Correct. Yeah.
And so and you were talking about doing a lot of corporate events and big events and that type of thing. It's actually kind of an interesting segue that for some people, like I think you even have some things on your YouTube channel where you're performing. It could be like there was definitely weddings. There's some big corporate things that you showed like on your social media that there's like I don't know how many hundreds, if not thousands, of people there. And how does that, for you as a performer, how does those kind of gigs differ from doing a concert gig where it's not corporate and there's fans there and that type of thing?
Oh yeah, very, very different. Corporate gigs are great. I mean, they're very, very programmed, so to speak. Like, you run through an itinerary, and the client will ask you, we want, party music, or we want this, and there might be themes. So as myself, whether it's my band Pina & Co, or if I'm working with another band, because I do a lot of freelance here in Adelaide as well, so I might help out another band. Most of the clients will have a theme or an idea of what they want the band to represent. So music wise, party, or might start with some background music. So it's very different to being on a big stage, because whilst you're playing to those audiences, it depends on the event. Sometimes the audience might be a bit lackluster and they're just to have a good meal and a couple of drinks and, you know, be part of the event, and that's the end of it. So sometimes you can get a few not so exciting events. But, you know, it's up to us as the entertainers to create that vibe and try and entice people to have the best night. But we, you know, in saying that, I did a corporate a couple of months ago on a Monday night, and got off stage after the first set. This was with Dance Electric, by the way, and we actually ended up doing 2 sets this particular night. And we got off the first stage, and we were just like, "Whoa, what just happened there?" From the get-go of the introduction of our first song, everyone just got up, and we were just like, crazy. For a Monday night gig, mainly, you know, most of the times those gigs can be quite subdued. It was pumping, and then we got up for the second set and bang, it was on again. So, you know, it differs a lot, depends on the type of crowd and, you know, the company that it is. So, but yeah, if we're referring, you know, comparing that to a stage environment, well, oh, that's my biggest love. There's nothing better than being in front of a crowd that is particularly, you know, they've bought the tickets to come and see you, you know, see that band or see that group, whatever it is that you're part of. They've specifically come to see you and be there with you for that. Nothing beats that feeling.
Okay, yeah, it makes sense. I had spent some time not really doing corporate events, but one of the places I used to work for a day job, they had a big fundraising event. They're like, "Mark, you play music, don't you?" And I'm like, "Maybe." And I said, "We're looking for just some background music during when the lobbies open and people are getting here and getting drinks and getting, you know, situated at their tables." I'm like, "Oh, that's fine. I can do that."
Yeah.
But I also know that doing that, you know, you're not the reason people are there. In some cases, but other times people are just kind of bored, so then they kind of gravitate towards it. I remember this one guy who was like standing like right in front of me as I'm trying to play some music, and I'm like, he's trying to talk to me, and I'm not really good at talking and playing at the same time. So I didn't want to. I didn't want to be rude, but it's like, okay, I'm trying to answer your questions, and then one of my family members showed up, and they're trying to talk to me about stuff. I'm like, hey, can I talk to you a little bit later about that?
Yes, I'm working. Leave me alone. Yeah.
Yeah, and when I used to be a teacher a long time ago, they'd have a talent show at the very end of the year, and some people said, "Well, it'd be fun if we got like a staff band or something together. I think there's enough talent on this, you know, the staff. And Mark, you play guitar with your guitar club. Maybe we can grab the band teacher and the choir teacher and all that kind of stuff." I'd be down for that. And we ended up getting one of our vice principals to be the singer. Nobody knew he sang, including me. And the word got out. He's like, "Hey, Mark, you guys, did you find a vocalist for this thing?" And I'm like, "No, do you know somebody?" So he's like, "Yeah, me."
That's cool.
Yeah, so and I actually ended up playing drums instead of guitar. One of my students played guitar because we couldn't find a very solid drummer. So I said, "Well, I can do the kit stuff." And yeah, it went over great. The kids thought that was just such a kick, seeing us in a different light. Instead of being, you know, the VP that gets down on you or the teacher that you see every day, kind of a thing. And I went through some old 80s stuff. that was fun.
Wrong with that.
Yeah, absolutely. But one thing I'm kind of wondering too, like, well, you have such a beautiful voice first.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I'm not lying or blowing smoke when I say some of the stuff that I've watched, I've like rewatched it many, many times because I get such pleasure out of hearing you sing. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is
it's very, very kind of you. Thank you.
Well, yeah, no, thank you for you know, spreading your artistry to the world. And is singing something you always wanted to do? Was it something you were doing when you were younger, or were you studying piano instead and you had to sing with it? How did this all start?
Well, yes, I guess I always have been singing, but not really realizing I could sing, if that makes sense. And I'm talking when I was quite a very little girl. And me and my girlfriends at school would always perform in our lunch breaks and things like that. and just had fun with it. But when it came to high school, is when I really discovered my voice. My best friend and myself, we decided to take music as a subject, because we weren't very academic, let's say. Well, I wasn't anyway. And I love music and I love singing. So I thought, well, I'll do music. And they're like, well, you need to specialize in an instrument or you got to sing. And I thought, all right, well, let's do singing. So we both did singing. I did learn piano when I was younger. My parents put myself, my sister and my brother through piano lessons. And sadly, I got bored with it and I kick myself today, excuse me, because I could have been doing both at the same time. But anyways, I have tried to sit at the piano again and try and get everything working properly. It's difficult as you get older, but never say never, and I'll keep persisting with that, because I do really love the piano as well. As you know, one of my duos is mainly a piano bass. So yeah, so I took singing at school, and the music teacher, I do remember my first lesson with her, and she said, "You're a natural singer." And I was like, oh, okay, well, what does that mean? She goes, you're able to sing, you know how to sing. Now, we did minimal lessons at school during high school, but I did a lot of singing and we formed a group. It was when my first a cappella group started. There was 4 of us in the group and we performed at every event that the school had. We even extended some of our performances out to some sport events that we had around Adelaide when like national championships and things would come out. So we got some really cool opportunities for, you know, young girls at high school. So I through there, and when I finished school, I guess I started singing in bands, and I've just been singing in different bands ever since. So yeah.
Okay. Did you ever get to a point where, like, where you're singing with the a cappella group, and then, like you said, you've been singing with different bands outside of school? Did you ever get to a point where you thought, you know, I really need to like take more one-on-one lessons because I'm singing so much that I want to protect my voice and make sure I'm doing proper technique and all that type of thing?
Absolutely. Yes, I sought out an incredible vocal teacher here in Adelaide. Katrina Ryan is her name, and but this was later on in life. So this was, I think, either before or after COVID, because I felt like I didn't know how to do certain things, which sounds weird because up until that point I'd been singing for years, but technically I guess I didn't understand what I was doing, and I wanted to expand my capability, you know, expand my range and make sure that I wasn't abusing my voice. At the end of the day, that's your tool, that's your instrument. And, you know, when a singer gets sick, it's the first thing that you notice. It's really hard to recover or keep sustaining that when you're ill. So I went to Katrina, and she's incredible, and she just taught me some fundamental skills that have helped me to sustain and expand and, I don't know, become a better singer technically, I guess. Yeah, but there's more to learn, and I definitely want to get back to some one-on-one lessons just to refine. And, you know, as you get older, the voice starts to change. So just to support myself as a vocalist, yeah, that's on the cards too. So yeah.
Okay, and yeah, you're absolutely right. When you look at a band, that the first member that, if they're having any kind of physical issues like being sick, it's the vocalist. It's so hard. Yeah. They're basically done. They won't be able to do the gig if, depending on how sick they are. And probably right behind that's the drummer, being a physical type of thing. As a guitar player, bassist, keyboardist, we can kind of get through it if you're like head's throbbing, your nose is running or whatever. But those other 2 positions, it's really, really tough. But especially vocally, because if you can't hit those notes because of all this other kind of illness going on, you're going to do damage to your voice, or you're just not going to sound the way you want, and then the gig's going
Correct.
to just kind of go all the way sideways over here. So that makes perfect sense. And I see Lisa saying hello to you, Pina, and she's also asking, is there any chance of doing a live stream event for one of these upcoming shows so that the US can watch this?
That sounds like a fabulous idea. Who knows? Maybe. There's a lot has to, come into line if you're going to do those things, and depending on the event, if it's, if I'm employed somewhere to perform, it's a bit hard to stream those things because I'm not there for that. I'm there to, do a job. So I hope so. I love the idea of it. So maybe.
Okay. And so when you're singing with different bands, were there bands that were also doing like original material, or they've always been cover bands?
No, one of my first bands was an original band. We were called the George Special. It was pretty cool. I took over from one of the girls that I was singing with in high school. We were she was the lead singer in this group, and I don't know, they just loved the vibe of them. So I went to every gig, and she went and auditioned for something interstate, and she said, hey, can you fill in? So I filled in and, auditioned, filled in, and stayed with the band for many years. We recorded an EP. It was original music. It was a bit of a jazz funk dance band. Really cool. We took a bus ride over to Melbourne. We played at the SB, which was cool. And we launched like our CD and things like that. So yeah, that was fun.
Excuse me. Okay. And do you consider yourself a songwriter?
Not a very good one. No, look, I have tried and done that with like past bands, and even another band that I played with, we probably wrote about 2 or 3 songs, but we were so busy playing the cover scene, it took up a lot of our time. But it's not, I do get asked to write, or if I'd be interested in doing that, and it's definitely something I would like to do again. Yeah.
Okay, so and you've kind of talked about with the cover band scene over there. It's probably similar to even like the one that's here in Seattle, that you end up playing so many gigs, or if you have to fill in for somebody, that you start knowing just the same musicians. You kind of see them everywhere. And is that what kind of happened? How did you get involved with Heinley Street?
Well, that was, I got a call up from Darren. So this was back in 2019, and they were looking for an extra backing vocalist for a particular song. Now, my friend Mel McCaig, who featured on this particular song, said, to Darren, give Pina a call, and because Mel and I had worked together on some Elvis touring shows, and we'd done a lot of BV work together. And that's one of my favorite things to do, sing BVs. I love creating and finding like backing vocals for everything. And sometimes I oversing BVs. But anyway, let's get back to the question. So I got recommended by Mel to Darren, and Darren called and said, hey, would you like to come and do some backing vocals on this song? So, and of course, I said yes. And that's where it all started. Yeah.
Okay, so that's interesting then. So it wasn't a case of where like you were playing other gigs and you kept seeing these guys and gals around.
No.
Okay. And so you did that first backing vocal gig with them, and then it just kind of snowballed from there. Like, what about this one? And what about this one?
Yeah, I got asked to do a couple more BVs. And then slowly, a lead came up and, could you sing this? And, sure, I will tackle anything that is thrown at me. But yeah, so that's sort of how it started. But through the BV side of things, yeah.
Okay, and the type of cover tunes that they were doing, were those kind of up your alley, or was it kind of like some of these, I don't even know what songs these are?
Well, the first solo song I was asked to sing was Lot of Love by Nicolette Larson, and I'd never heard that song ever. So, but I heard it and I went, yeah, this is cool. A bit bluesy, and, the messaging is nice. So, yeah, I'm happy to happy to do it. So that was my first solo with them. Yeah, I'm open to many genres. I like to be versatile. So yeah, there's a few different things that I've tackled. Yeah.
Okay, and this question comes from the live stream I did with Kat and Jake about a month or two ago, and I had a montage like I did with yours, of different clips. And during the discussion, Kat had brought up how much she detests the version of her singing one of the Heinley Street songs because live she feels she's done it so much better. So every time that video comes up, she's like, "Oh, I don't like how this was." She kind of explained some of the background things that were going on personally at the time. But I'm wondering for yourself, of all the videos that you've been a part of with them, do you have the same kind of feeling for certain ones? Like, oh, why did they pick that one? Or I don't like my performance there. Or are you just like, no?
There's maybe a couple. I guess there was one song that we recorded, Harvest Moon, and we just come back from touring, and we had all been sick. Everyone in the band. It was the most craziest illness for everyone, whether it was COVID. I don't even know, but it was so bad. So because the schedule was so busy with recording and then touring, come back and recording, because you had to keep things moving, I was ill, but you got to get things done. And it wasn't a big singer, it's a really sweet tune, but I was quite sick on that one, and I didn't like the take that was used, but it is what it is. But people seem to like it. And probably the biggest one for me, and I know a lot of people will think I'm crazy saying this, but was Woman in Love. My vocal on that, while people will say it's great, to me it was so much better when we performed it live. Reason being, I'll explain the story. That song, when it came up, we had just finished, it was part of our 2-day recording schedule, and I was supposed to be singing BVs on that song. So we'd finished the session, let's just say it was a Monday, Tuesday. So we'd done our Monday session, I'd left, I was in the car, got home, which wasn't too far from the studio, get a call, "Hey, can you sing Woman in Love tomorrow? I need a lead." And I was like, "Huh? What do you mean? I was supposed to be singing BV." "Sure, no problem. Let's do it." So I had to cram and learn the lead line because I'd been busy learning my BVs. And as you know, being a Bee Gees song, the BVs are quite intricate in that. So there is a difference between singing a lead when you're concentrating on your lead part to singing BVs and making sure you're getting all your parts right. So in my head, I had all my learning from BVs. And the next minute, I had to very quickly change that to, right, you got to sing lead, and you're going to have to nail Barbara, and you cannot stuff this up. So I felt a lot of pressure on me that day, and I feel in my vocal on what we see on the YouTube videos, you can hear my nervousness in that. So it was so much better when we got to do that live because I was relaxed. I had learnt the song with enough time, and given the song what it needed to do. I felt like I had oversung it in the recording, just because it was the nerves, and it was very quick and a lot of pressure, and I could feel that pressure, not from anyone, just on myself to execute this song in the way that it needed to do. Like, I quickly looked at the numbers, and it's at 13 million views. Like, it's insane, and I'm extremely grateful. It's a killer song, a huge song, and I love that song. So when it very quickly changed to, can you sing the lead on that, I wasn't going to say no to that. It's such an iconic song, and I'm really glad that I got to do it. But I wish I could have changed the vocal on it, but I love you.
Thank you for sharing the background story on that version, because to me that's exactly like what it was in Kat's case. I actually felt really bad that I had taken a snippet and I looked at, like you just said, in this particular case, that video has so many views on it, and I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, gotta make sure I put this one there because the fans love it. And then you find out from the
yeah.
performer, like, well, here's what was going on when I recorded it, and
Mhm.
I'm glad that you love it and everything, but I wish I could have had something else there for a take.
Yeah.
Or like you said, even it just had just some more time to work with it because your mindset was so much on BVs. I'm like, hey, tomorrow now you're going to be doing the lead. Like, well, wait a minute, I got to switch mindsets to do this. And can you give me
Yeah.
some more time? No, we can't. We got to do it right now. So,
No, that's right. And you got to show up and get it done. But I love that pressure too. So you almost thrive on that. Yeah, it adds a different element to it. That adrenaline, it's an extra adrenaline hit that, yeah. But then, it's about being sure in yourself. And I knew I could do it. And if I couldn't, I'd make sure I could do it. So, it's always trying to, meet them, raise that bar a little bit as a vocalist. You always want to achieve better and, but then it's the added pressure that, especially in that environment, there's such a massive audience that is awaiting and I guess criticizing or, to some degree. And, there's a lot of eyes on you and a lot of people watching and hearing. So, there's an added element of pressure. So you always want to make sure that you're doing your best. So, it wasn't the worst take, but me as a performer, as a vocalist, it could have been better. And it was during the live show. So hopefully who saw it live appreciated it.
You're absolutely right. There's this interesting dichotomy for creative people in general. A long time ago, I worked as an audio engineer for a computer company. This was like over 20 years ago. And sometimes, Mark, we've got a month before the deadline to get these files done. Okay, great. I got all kinds of times. And then you get a memo, oh, they changed it. They need it tonight. And like, what? I don't even have any of this stuff together. So you're in this pressure cooker, you're trying to deliver the best thing you can, but you're being rushed. And most creative people don't like being rushed when it comes to trying to find their process. But on the other hand, it sure taught me how to try to learn in the future how to work under pressure. And just what you were describing, that's like, you know what? I'm not going to say, no, I can't finish this by midnight. I'm going to knuckle down and try to get this thing done. But in hindsight, when I look at it or listen to it, it'd be like, oh, that wasn't very good. But, I did the best I could at the time.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a few times we were working on, Madonna had put out the music song and video back in the day. And they wanted the animated version of the music video. That's what my company did. So I'm like, oh, this will be easy. Just give me the sound files because it's got the song. Obviously, there's not much for me to do, right? And they made some edits to it, so it got shorter. And so I'm like, well, wait a minute, that doesn't work here with this part when it goes to the bridge or when it goes to this verse. You want me to take that out and like halfway take it out? It doesn't sound right. And they're like, well, Mark, that's your job. Figure it out.
Yeah.
So I don't know how many times I listened to that song and we're trying to figure out file size or trying to figure out all these other kind of variables. And eventually, we got it done for Sony, but it was like not what I thought, because that was one of the examples. We thought we had all this extra time. They said, oh, they bumped it up. So we need to, nobody's going home. Everyone's staying late tonight. But we got it done. Then we want to have some drinks afterward to blow off steam. But and I don't know if that's still floating around out on the internet. It probably is somewhere that I had to sit there and try to edit this thing forever. But
I bet.
But yeah, like you said, there's such an interesting dichotomy, though. On one hand, it's like, you know what? I wish I could spend some more time and live with this and kind of do my very best take, but that's not reality. This is what my reality is. So I'm still going to do the best things that I possibly can. But ooh, I wish I had a little bit more time with it.
Yeah, that's right.
And you kind of talked about that you love performing on stage. So like your time when you're doing the touring with Heinley, was that something that you're like, man, you were just loving the shows and just really loving performing the songs with the group?
Absolutely. On the no sleep, on the early mornings, on the no time to get to the hotel, straight to the venue sometimes. I loved it. I loved it all, crazy as that sounds. Yeah, I mean, being tired is not good for a vocalist. So that's not ideal. But again, you know, you make the best of the situation. But yeah, being on stage, yeah, it's the best feeling. It is the best feeling.
And when you were performing different songs, was there a particular song that you always look forward to that you were singing in the set or sets?
No, I just like being on stage. And I mean, I did, especially in the early days of touring, I did a lot of the BVs on stage as well. But like I said earlier, I really enjoy singing backing vocals. And I know someone like Kat, who is an exceptional vocalist, but she's very good at BVs. And I think, well, I want to speak on her behalf, but I think she enjoys doing BVs as well as much as what I did. But yeah, in the early days, I did a lot. And I guess one of the songs that I love being as a backing vocalist for was I Want to Know What Love Is. Jenny was singing that, and I don't know, I just really love being part of that song. There was something about that song when we perform live. I mean, it's a great song. I've always loved that song and the different variations of it from different artists, but performing that song live, I don't know, there was just something magical about that, and you could feel it in the room. It didn't matter what venue we performed it at. It didn't matter that I was singing BVs for that song and I wasn't up front. It's never been like that for me. I love being in that moment and just being able to, I don't know, share that magic with everyone on stage, but everyone that's there watching it. Yeah, I love anything that I perform. Sorry, I sort of went off from that question. I know you were asking about songs I want to that I love to perform. I love to perform anything. Yeah, I don't really have a standout favorite. I mean, doing Woman in Love, when we got to do that live, I felt like I got I got my day to do that how I wanted to do that. So that felt nice. And I could feel that people love that, to see that live. You know, when you do a live show, you want high energy, you want people to be, you know, in it, but you got to take them on a journey. So having those little pockets of those special songs like that, that's what I love, yeah, in a show. But yeah, being on stages, I'm happy to be there. Just dance and stand there. No, I'm joking. But, yeah.
Well, I can tell you that you're spot on, because Kat did say that during her interviews, how much she loves doing BVs, and
yeah,
she was saying that if she could do BVs for either Lady Gaga or Celine Dion, she'd be like over the moon.
Yeah, that would be Kat for sure.
Yeah, she was just so into it, and I think also, like you were saying, that with the Foreigner song, I Want to Know What Love Is. I didn't see them back in the day with the Lou Gramm lineup. I saw them later with the Kelly Hansen lineup. But there's something about that song that becomes, I mean, concerts are communal anyway, but that particular song, it's almost like going to church or something. It just kind of really brings everybody together. You can feel it kind of rising. And that's just as a fan out in the audience listening to it. There's such a beautiful vibe to that tune when it's performed, especially when it's performed live. So what you're describing, that makes perfect sense to me, that you just, everyone feels like you're kind of one. Everyone in that room, we're all feeling this kind of thing, and
definitely
we need more of that now than ever.
So, amen to that. Yes, we do.
Absolutely. There's certain days where I'm kind of like, man, what crazy crap is going on today? And then you try to stay, at least in my case, you try to stay with the positive and stay with what you do well, and not get sucked up into that, because then you just become a part of that problem, and it's not good for anybody.
No.
So it's like there are good things, there are good people out there. They haven't gone away, and it's just making sure that you acknowledge that, and then hopefully you're a part of that.
Perfectly said.
Yeah, and did it just get to a point where you had just different priorities and different things where you decided to step away from Heinley?
Yes, I guess that's the right way to say it. Yeah, we had. Look, it was not an easy decision to make because there was a lot of highs. But I guess we could say, how can I say this? We can word it. I guess I was in a situation or given an ultimatum where I had to make a decision, and I really had to look at that and reflect on that, and I guess yeah. I just want to make sure I word this, properly. I guess when everyone in life different situations, and we have to then take a moment and say, how does that sit with us? Are we happy? Are we upset by that? Like, we just need to really make sure that whatever decisions we make in life, we do for ourselves. And I'm not saying about being selfish, because I understood everything was about the band. It was bigger than just me in that situation. So I took time to reflect, and my incredible support group around me, lots of discussions and stuff. And yeah, I made the decision to walk away because it felt right for me at that time. But in saying that, I was extremely grateful for the time that I did have in the band. It was 4 years that I got to be part of that. I got to sing and perform with some incredible musicians, and I've made some true friends out of that as well, which I'm extremely grateful for. The opportunity to tour and do bigger things like that. So yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing that. It was kind of the elephant in the room through the chat.
Of course, yeah.
But like you said, and I think it's true for anybody, that when situations are brought up to you, at the end of the day, you have to kind of see what's really going to be the best thing for me and what I'm trying to do. And sometimes those decisions are not easy because there's so many things that, well, this is really good, pro, couple cons over here. What do I want personally with my music in the future? Where do I fit into all these kind of things?
Absolutely.
And at the end of the day, then you say, this is, I was telling people this about any kind of job, doesn't what kind of day job, whatever you do for a living, that if it's not working for you, you have to ask those same kind of questions of like, is this really the best thing for me? Is this what's working for me? You might love your coworkers, you might love some of the clients or whatever, but if it's not working for you, then you have to start looking at what are you going to move on to?
Exactly. And I guess that's why it was, a difficult decision at the time. I mean, I knew it was the right one. I don't have any regrets, and even to this day, because I still get asked that question, why'd you leave? And it was the right decision for me. When I put my post out, I rewrote that so many times because I didn't want to put a negative spin on anything. And I know the fans ultimately are the ones who have carried this project. And I know a lot of them were disappointed when I did exit. So yeah, it's just, you got to be true to yourself. I said that in my post, and people go, what does that mean? But it's what we were just talking about. It's realizing situations that you, and whatever the situation is, whether it's band, it's life, it's work, it's friendships, and you need to, I've learned a lot. Like, there are lessons that we are dealt every day, and I've learned a lot, particularly from this journey, about realizing it's not selfish to look at yourself and have your own back. And when you do that, you have more power, because that all starts to open doors, things that you truly want, that that align with you. So I've explained it to many people over the years, because it was, I don't know, they thought it was very strange that I just exited like that. But it wasn't an overnight decision, but it was the right decision with many lessons learned, but with an extremely big and grateful heart because of the opportunity that I did have at the same time.
That's very well said.
Yeah.
I was literally talking about something similar with my friend last night after the Stereophonic show that I mentioned to you that I was there reviewing, about that opportunities sometimes have come my way just on the media side of things. And I'm like, man, this would really help me out if it's monetarily or just reach or other kind of connections I could have. But there's something about this that it's not quite sitting right with me. And people out here, like my friends, would be like, are you crazy? Why wouldn't you say yes to this? And I'm like, I'm going to go with my gut on this. It doesn't feel right to me. And so I'm going to stay on the path that I'm on over here. And then, like you said, other doors start opening up, and these are doors that I want. And so it tells me, you know what, you did make the right decision back here because you stayed true to yourself. And I've talked about this on these live streams that I've had people talk about giving me sponsorships, and that means money. That's something I need. I don't make a living from this. I have to have a day job to do things. And so would I love your sponsorship? Sure. What do you represent? And I look at it, I'm like, that's got absolutely nothing to do with me. I can't get behind this because that means I'm endorsing you, whatever your product is. And that's nothing against you, but I'm not the person for it. But it'd be easy to say, okay, I'll sign up on this stuff.
Yeah. And a lot of people, I guess, get caught up in that, sponsorships or whatever sort of, things that get presented to them, and they go, yes. But it's like, well, like you said, does it align with you? Is it really going to add value to you, your product, what it is that you're selling? At the end of the day, we're always selling ourselves, so to speak. But there are ways to do that, respectfully and holistically, even if you want to look at it that way, things that truly align and sit well within yourself as that person.
Absolutely. I mean, I always talk about that. I sleep well at night, and that tells me all I need to know.
So do I.
Yeah. And I think the other piece too is that, like you said, you're so grateful for the time and the concerts and some of the members you got to work with and the friendships you've gotten from some of it.
Yeah.
That it's also, look at all the people around the world that got to love your voice and everything that you do. And here we are talking now in 2025.
Yeah. Oh, look, the fans especially during that COVID time when that escalation of the Heinley Street ban happened, the world was in a dark place. And I say it I like to share quotes on my Instagram and things like that, if you haven't noticed that, but a lot of people notice that. But it's because I find that the right quotes really do resonate with me and a lot of people. And music is that connection. That is that connector. To be able to have shared and created, have fans from across the pond, as some people say, on the other side of the world is mind blowing. And without those fans, that trajectory, I don't think would have happened the way that it is. Everything is to do with those fans. I am extremely grateful for them, and people might think, oh, she's cheesy. Yeah, well, maybe I am, but at the end of the day, without those fans and that support, I don't think it would have gone where it went. And to have that connection, I mean, yeah, like you said, how many years later, and I'm still talking about it with yourself. It's so cool. And a lot of those fans, even once I left, have continued to support me. And whilst some people go, oh, but she's not touring and she's not doing that, it's still my journey of music. And the fact that a lot of them have come along and supported me with what I'm doing is incredible. And for a little, a little girl in Adelaide, it's pretty bloody cool. And I love the fans, and I'm very grateful for it all. Very, very much. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's I was talking to somebody at when Heinley played here in Seattle. There was a fan. He said, "Oh, I got into them during the pandemic," and I was explaining to him that I got into them after the pandemic. So I was kind of later to the show, but he was going through all the things that I just kept looking forward every time there's going to be a new video and a new song, and this was kind of a lifeline. I said, "No, I understand that because." During the pandemic, I got invited to do a virtual tour with a wonderful band out of Los Angeles, and so I did interviews for every live stream that they did, and they did 59 of them. So I had to find guests and all these kind of things, and some of the people that were watching me back then are still watching me now, 5 years later. And
that's awesome.
It's like I'm so grateful for the people that I met back then, the people that leave positive comments on my social media. It's been also interesting is that sometimes I've been able to meet some of these people in person. They'll be here in Seattle for some reason. Oh, I came in from New York for some business thing. I saw that you were going to be over at this show from your Facebook page, so I thought I would come check it out. I'm like, this is so cool that these worlds all came together, 4 or 5 years later. That never would have. And I mean, not that I would ever want to go back to that period, but the one silver lining for me was that these kind of relationships did build during that time because people were at home. They weren't at their normal gigs. I wasn't covering stuff. There's nowhere to go. So
correct.
And I've had that happen with bands too that I've interviewed virtually. And then, Mark, we're going on tour and we're finally coming to Seattle. And that's awesome. And it's like, it's so weird that I already know something about you and you know something about me, but we've never physically met or been in the same room together.
Yeah, that's right.
It's such a trip, but it's also been extremely cool when that's happened. I walked into a club that was 3 years ago, and I just heard someone yell out my name, and I'm kind of like, okay, who is that? And it was the singer from the band.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and me just, I think the natural reaction was kind of like, how do you know me again? And it's like, oh, wait a minute. We've done live streams, Mark, but now they're physically here, and you could touch them and hug them and stuff like that. So no, those things. I also think, especially like for a fan of what you do, that when musicians are going to continue on their journeys, which they do, if you're a fan, you're interested in everything that they're doing. I know I am. So if you come up with a country band or a rap thing or whatever, I'm still, what is Pina doing now? Because there's so much talent there and you gave so much joy to so many people that doesn't just end. It's like, no, now that she's on to this and this and this, and maybe it's a little bit different, but that's okay. And it kind of brings me to a question that, do you have any plans to, and maybe you do, because I think you had mentioned it through your social media that you've been spending some time in the recording studio. Are you going to start kind of firing up on a regular basis, more content on your YouTube channel?
That's the plan. Yes. I have a lot of questions around that too. When are you doing more stuff? Why don't we see you every week? It takes a lot of time, not only for myself, but the other people that you ask to be involved in, to dedicate time for all of that. And at the end of the day, most of us have day jobs as well. So, there will be more content coming to YouTube. It felt really good being back in the studio. So I knew what I wanted to do, how to plan, got a fair amount of stuff recorded. It's just solo stuff at the moment. I've got some collaboration stuff coming up in the future. Yet to record, but a lot more stuff coming soon. Finally. It feels good to to be creative again in that area.
Okay, cool. No, that's great. Again, for me as a fan, that's great to hear that there's more stuff coming.
Yes. I'm not sure if it'll be weekly, but there'll be some new stuff. Definitely working on that. I really like to fire up our Rumpus Room sessions as well. Get Pina and the Coladas back. for some more videos. So, you know, we're all talking and trying to get organized for things like that as well. So, yeah.
I think I speak for the fans. We'll take whatever we can get.
That's very sweet. But yes, no, but we're going to put out, it's going to be quality, you know, over quantity. So yeah, I take a lot of pride in what I do, and everyone that I work with is the same. So it won't just be a slapdash. So let's just chuck that out there. I want it to be good. I want people to understand, appreciate what it is that I'm doing. You know, would I like to get back out on the road? Yes, I would. Like I said, there's too much love for being on that bigger stage to not do that again. But we'll see what happens in that space.
All right, that's fair enough. And just so I let the fans know that are watching, if you have a question or comment, please get it in quickly as we're kind of winding our interview time down with Pina. So don't miss out if you have a question that you want me to ask her. Yeah, as you were talking about, the whole quality over quantity is huge, and it's great when artists have intention behind what they're doing. I'm all for if someone wants to do an impromptu jam or whatever, but if that's what you do all the time, it's kind of like, well, give me something that you took a little bit more thought process with.
That's right. Yeah.
That would be like me. I mean, I'm the boss here, so I get to pick who I want to interview, like yourself. And that happens too when I get publicists. Mark, I've got these people I want you to talk to, and I'm like, okay, I'll look into their backgrounds and see what they got going on.
Yeah.
And sometimes, honestly, it's nothing against them. I just don't think there's something that I want to, explore right now. And so maybe, a year from now or 5 years or maybe, 6 months from now. And in some cases, it's been a flat out no. When I look at something, I'm like, this is not what I do. Especially if it's like politics or some other kind of local news. I said, did you look at the channel that all this? That's not me. I cover all kinds of things, but not that many things. And like we talked earlier, it doesn't feel right to me. So if it doesn't feel right, I'm going to say politely, respectfully, no, thank you.
That's right. Yeah.
So, all right, fans, we're counting down 3, 2, 1 here. If you don't have anything else to ask. But Pina, it's been amazing talking with you. I thank you so much for taking the time, and I'm looking forward to seeing more of those clues about the gig for Dance Electric. And I'll be checking out my notifications to see when something gets uploaded to your YouTube channel, and I'm following you on social media as well. So I'm sure I'll be able to see, okay, there's something that she talked about. it's up there.
Fabulous. Awesome. Thank you for inviting me along. That's been a lot of fun, actually.
Awesome. I'm glad. That's what I'd like to hear.
I'll even say, let's do it again sometime, which is not really like me, but let's do it maybe in the future, maybe after another project, hey?
I appreciate that, Pina. I would love to do that. And I was just going to mention that I would welcome you back any single time. You got something to promote, you just want to kind of talk, shoot the shit where things are at, whatever you want. I'm your guy. I am here for you.
I love it. Thank you, Mark. It's been awesome chatting to you.
Yeah, thank you so much. And absolutely. Have a great Friday over there. Your day is still going and my evening starting. So all right. Thank you very much. Thank you everybody for tuning in. See you later.
Take care.